Hiya, and welcome back to Heroes Advent, the game that teaches us that the best way to learn whether or not someone is ignoring you on purpose or on accident is to eavesdrop on a very private conversation. That is not a good method to figure out whether or not someone's ignoring you. Anyways, let's just hop right in. There was a sinking feeling in your chest as you recognized the stone corridors around you. Yeah, hiya. It must be happening again. Echoes of screams and fleeting laughter sent chills down your spine as you barely noticed a dark figure looming on the far end of the dark hall. It was smiling. Oh, fuck, it's a smiler. Oh, god damn it. Who's the developer of this game? Who is he? Actually, I'm gonna find out, because, like, if you're watching this, I have a question for you. Okay. Alright. Who is the owner of this who's the developer? Who's the developer? Because, like, I'm Playsure. Are we in the back rooms? Are we in secret level 69 or some shit of the back rooms? Are we? Because if we are, then this is pretty fucking cool. You took a step forward only to find yourself falling into another unseen pit. Ah, shit. You could see it before you again, the endlessly spiraling abyss. You must have been falling for a long time. What is... You bit your tongue as you caught glimpses of what looked like a gigantic creature. Help me! Its maw grew wider and wider, engulfing your form as you dove deeper into the abyss. Oh. The creature spoke suddenly with its horrifying timbre. Huh? Wake! Dave, wake up! What? You awoke, finding yourself drenched in sweat. You take a moment to look around the bedroom, darting your eyes from one corner to the other. Dave, are you alright, dear? You're startled as a gentle voice spoke to you. It took you a moment to realize it didn't come from something hostile. Huh? Yeah, I'm fine. You muttered shakily, eyeing the bunny lady next to your bed. Sorry for making you worried, Elisa. I had a nightmare. Again. Oh, poor dear. It's alright. Elisa whispered, petting your head. Her soft touch really helped you calm down. But a nightmare, you say? You looked at her again. She looked quite concerned, despite the gentle smile on her face. Perhaps it is a sign. A sign? It's nothing. Here, clean yourself up a bit, would you? You took the small towel she handed you and dried off the sweat from your neck and face, especially your forehead. Thanks, Elisa. Sorry for bothering you as well. Did I oversleep again? Not at all. In fact, I was going to let you sleep for a while after last night's errand, but you were shouting and whimpering so much, I had to wake you up early. It wasn't something you thought you'd get used to, but before you knew it, your tail was wagging at her gentle caress, and you breathed a sigh of relief as she scritched your ear. It's alright, Elisa. Thank you. Can we just get a visual novel with this and no bullshit? Like, just a slice of life that isn't Tennis Ace. I have been depressed for the past week. So, no. But seriously, can we please get a visual novel that doesn't have all this... I realized that my mic was off. How long was it off? How long was my microphone off? But no, can we please get a visual novel without drama that's wholesome and isn't Tennis Ace? Because Tennis Ace is it's a beast. It's an entire beast of its own, and I am burnt out of Tennis Ace. I am very fucking burnt out of Tennis Ace. I love the game to death. I love the game to death. I bought the Jun Kobayashi keychain. I love it to death. I love Jun to death. But I don't think I can handle any more Tennis Ace for at least a month. You could hear her chuckling as you snapped out of your trance. You sheepishly nudged her hand away. Breakfast is ready if you want to eat, then you can take it easy for a bit. She smiled as she left your side, stopping by the door for a moment. Max is outside if you want to help him. He's going to chop some woods for the furnace. I'll be at the garden if you need me. Okay, thanks again, Elisa. You put on your clothes and headed for the dining room, where your breakfast sat on the table. Oh, sweet! It's grilled chicken and eggs! Don't forget to wash your hands, Dave. Elisa shouted from outside. Got it. I don't think I've ever seen shirtless Max. I have never seen shirtless Max. You quickly washed your hands on the sink. Exactly! Can we please get that? All done. You sat at the table and delved into the meal. It's already been 2 weeks since you arrived here out of the blue. It was very terrifying and overwhelming at first, but now everything seemed quite alright to you. You've gotten a lot more accustomed to the new lifestyle at Elisa's place, even feeling more comfortable with your new body and all that. In fact, you are quite excited for the days ahead. Although, there is still that prophecy thing that Elisa told you about. If you could recall correctly, it was something about a hero coming from another dimension that could defeat the evil king and restore peace to the land. I hate to say it, but that's still a bit too much for me right now. Okay, that's enough of that joke. What is? Jeez, Max, you scared the crap out of me! You groaned, playfully hitting him in the stomach. Well, you were zoning out for a while now, Dave, chewing on that chicken bone like so. I know it's tasty, but there's still some left if you're hungry for more. Ones with the meat still intact for you to chew on. Ugh, shut up! You feel yourself blushing hard as you glanced away from him. You knew what he meant was different, but you couldn't help thinking of the alternative. I'm still new to all of this, you know. Well, since you're done chewing your bones, maybe you can help me finish up some work. Hiya! Yeah, sure. You pushed him out of the way as you left the table and proceeded to clean your dishes. You couldn't help but chuckling to yourself a little. Max has been a lot friendlier towards you since the first few days you met. Sure, he might have been like that after that talk, but it still felt genuine to you. Even if he tends to treat you like a younger brother a lot of the times. It was strange, but still felt quite nice, given that you never really had an older brother figure in your life up to that point. I did. When you finished, Max had already gone outside. You followed suit to find him chopping some wood. Shirtless. Don't worry, Max. I'm only staring in a... I'm respectfully staring in a disrespectful manner. It's very respectful. It is not respectful at all. That is not line up anymore. But, wow. You can't help but stare at his body and fluffy chest. You just want to give him a big hug and bury your face amongst his fur. You can help me out anytime you're done staring, Dave. Okay. You approached him, flustered as ever. What can I do to help? Well, to start with, there are woods that need chopping. There are also chickens to feed and water to collect from the well. What should I do? Alright, time for a poll! Alright, Alright. I cannot take this seriously to save my life. Trying to get banned speedrun. I'm tired of this, Grandpa! That's too damn bad! Hiya. Okay, think about this. 6.9 times 11 minus 6.9. What do you get? You get 69. What? Melted ice from a hole. Guess I'll get some water from the well. Okay, have a good one. Max waved at you as he went back to chopping wood. Strange as it may sound, this was one of the more relaxing chores in the household. You enjoyed watching the water sloshing around in the well, and you could always use a drink whenever you needed to freshen up. You were pulling more water up when you saw a shirtless Max passing by, and you couldn't help keeping your eyes on him for the moment. It didn't take long for him to notice you staring, and you felt even more flustered. Looking good there. Keep up the good work. Max smiled as he cheered for you before leaving, and your hands slipped. Ah, darn it! You cursed silently as the bucket flipped over, pouring all the water back into the well. You chuckled to yourself before having another go at it. Your arms felt sore and your hands started to hurt a bit after a while. You took the bucket for a last roundabout and managed to fill up most of the water barrels at the back of the house. You also made a mental note to steer clear of the stable, lest those beast creatures things scared you to death every time you got close! Endurance +1. Eventually, you sat by the porch, exhausted. Done already? Yeah! You try to avoid looking at him too much. Boys, lunch is ready. Elisa opens the door. She called for you. I would love a visual novel where it's just slice of life. Like, there's no drama, no problems whatsoever. That'd be nice. Come on in and eat before it gets cold. Yes, ma'am. But the drama is what makes it interesting. Max followed Elisa inside. You took a moment to catch your breath before heading in as well. It's quail season. So it's baked quail with some vegetable soup for lunch. Looks delicious as always, Elisa. Aw, thank you. I made a lot, so be sure to fill up. I'll do just that. Max took a whole quail to his plate. You too, Dave. Eat up. Elisa looked to you as she said gently, Yes, ma'am. You ate up 4 whole quails and 3 bowls of soup. You usually eat a lot less when you were human. Perhaps your appetite changed along with your body. Stuffed, you laid back along the chair. Lisa was clearing the table when you suddenly felt something petting your belly. I had my tongue out while I was reading that because Dave had his tongue out, so, you know, just trying to match the character. And also, what the fuck? Feeling nice and full, Dave? He ran his hand along your belly. His gesture made you blush again. It felt so nice, but you quickly swatted his hand away. Can you stop doing that? You yelled as you shot up from the chair, going to Elisa to help her with the dishes. Ah, thank you, dear. But you don't have to help me, you know. It's alright, you already cooked us meals. This is the least I could do. Well, fair enough. By the way, I do have another favor to ask of you. Sure, what can I do to help? Can you go with Max to the woods after this? I need some herbs for cooking. Oh, alright. I thought Max already went foraging yesterday. Yeah, that's true, but he is going to hunt some wild borax for tomorrow's rations. Now that she mentioned it, tomorrow is the day you left for the city, after all. And I would feel a lot safer if you were with him, you see. What did I forget? What am I forgetting? What am I forgetting? Dave! Our Build-A-Dave! Ah! We got our Build-A-Dave! Yay! Sorry, I forgot! I forgot! Fuck! And I would feel a lot safer if you're with him, you see. I understand, ma'am. I'll be sure to bring back some extras for you as well. Thank you, Dave. Try not to wander too far off, though, alright? The woods tend to get rather unsafe at later hours, and I don't want anything bad to happen to you. I will, ma'am. Don't you worry. You ready to go, Dave? Max asked you as you both prepared for the short trip. Ready when you are, you said, grabbing the leather pouch from your room. Max was already waiting for you by the doorway. You could see him in his usual adventuring attire, his trusty crossbow resting upon his back. Do we get a Legend of Zelda Master Sword? That just popped into my head. You wondered if you could bring something to defend yourself. Then again, you're just out picking herbs. It's not like you'd need a weapon for such a trivial task. After saying goodbye to Elisa, you and Max headed into the depths of the forest. After going past the faded pathway, you began to see some clearings. We'll meet up here before sunset, okay? Okay. I know Elisa probably said this already, but don't go too far off the beaten path, okay? I won't be able to help you if you're lost in some forest caves. Yeah, I'll be careful. You too, Max. I can take care of myself, Dave. Unlike a certain someone. Yeah, I know you're strong. Now go already. Those Boraxes aren't going to hunt themselves. After Max left, you took the usual path off of the clearing to start looking for herbs. Oh, I guess we don't have a fucking choice. Yeah, that's totally nice as hell. Yeah, nice. You wandered into the forest depths and found some herbs along the tree lines you recognized. You wandered a little further around the ancient tree close to the clearing and found some herbs. You wandered even further off the beaten path and found some herbs among the berry shrubs. You've already found what you're looking for. You could call it a date, or perhaps you could search for more. Do we explore more or go back? Should I stay or should I go? Okay, there's a lot of confliction. Alright, we're gonna have a poll. I like using the poll. I like using the poll feature. Alright, Alrighty. Now you can vote in this poll. I like using the polls. I like using the poll feature. I like using it. And I'm very fucking childish with the naming. That's the entire joke. That is literally the entire joke. Oh shit. Do we need corruption? Ooh wee. Go 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 go. Ooh wee. When you take the moon and you take the sun, you take everything that seems like fun. You stir it all up and then you're done. Rada 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 rada. Alright, I guess it's fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this, I'm out. You feel like you've gathered enough for now. You quickly made your way back to the clearing, and as you expected, Max was standing there with the dead Borks behind him. Done gathering the herbs? Yep, how about you? Well, this should be enough for our trip tomorrow. He pointed to the Borks. Whoa, yeah, that should be enough. Should we go back now? Not yet, I want to show you something. Come. You followed Max up towards the forest hill through a small dirt road. It seems like someone's been going this way for quite some time now. Well, yeah, I always go up here whenever I can. You'll see why in a moment. The path led to a cliff overlooking the city and the mountain range from afar. The sun was just beginning to set upon the horizons as the skies turned an orange hue. You can see the stars appearing around the edges where the sky's dark enough to make them shine. It's beautiful. Oh no, do we do the naughty? Or do we do the horizontal cha-cha if we go that other way? Because if so, then I'd rather avoid that. Okay. It's beautiful. It's magical. You could say this is the main reason why I keep visiting Elisa, aside from her cooking. Seeing this makes me hopeful. It's like all my problems went away, even just for a moment. You have problems, Max? Well, everyone does. Mine is just a bit complicated. He gazed upon the stars. Somehow the look in his stoic eyes seemed sad and gloomy for a moment. Do we assure him or stay quiet? You're gonna get some motherfucking assurance. Well, whatever happens, you know I'll be right by your side, Max. Thanks, pal. You sat there with him until the sun had completely set. You gathered your things and proceeded to go home with him. You talked with Max all the way to Elisa's house, cracking jokes along the way where appropriate. The fireflies were out and helped illuminating the way back. As when you got closer to home, you could smell something delicious wafting from the kitchen. Your stomach began to rumble. Max chuckled and gave your head another pat. You blushed, breaking from his touch, and ran towards the house, leaving Max behind for the moment. Welcome home, dear. She greeted you warmly. I see you've brought the herbs as I've asked. Her smile grew brighter as she looked into your satchel. Come in, dinner's ready for you both. You can see a bunch of roasted quails behind her. You felt like digging into those dishes right away, but she stopped you on the way, reminding you to wash up before dinner. You protested a bit, but eventually gave in, whimpering as you went. Alright, alright. You can eat first, Dave. Why does she look pissed? Like a child, your ears perked up as you rushed to the tables, your tail wagging endlessly along the way. At least wash your hands first, young man. Okay, ma'am. I'll go wash up first, then. You cleaned the dirt off of your hands and sat at the table, taking 2 quails to your plate. Don't forget to save some for Max. You nod to Elisa before delving in. Max returned after quite a while and ate his portion. After finishing the meal, Lisa told you to go wash up and rest up as tomorrow would be quite the long journey. You went to the bathroom as Max stayed to discuss the plans for tomorrow with Elisa. You washed up a bit before stepping into the hot bath. The water immediately soothed your tense muscles. You rested your back against the tub, dozing off after a moment. When you finally came to, you stayed there for a bit before stepping back out and dried up. You dried yourself with the towel after shaking the water off of your fur, wearing it as you left the bathroom. The kitchen was dark and empty as you passed by. Maybe they're all asleep already. You slid into your bed after putting on your underpants. Your mind was already drowsy after a day of hard work, and yet somehow you felt restless. Tomorrow is a big day, and you couldn't help wondering what kind of people and what sort of adventures awaited you in the city. You drifted off to sleep after pondering for a while. Are you sure you really have to go, Dave? You looked to Elisa as she spoke. She seemed sad even though she was smiling. Well, you're the one who said I needed to go to the city, ma'am. For safety and to receive training and all that. You replied, going over your luggage one last time before moving to the front door. You're right, just... You could feel Elisa softly caressing your hand as she said, I'd hoped you would perhaps stay for just a little longer. Things would get lonely here without you two around. Ma'am, you muttered as she leaned in for a hug. Oh, I'm going to miss you both. You could hear her sniffling and ever so slightly under the embrace. You made sure to hold back your own tears. You've only been there for 2 weeks, and yet somehow it already felt like years. Well, don't worry, ma'am. We'll come visit you when the time is right. You walked towards the dirt road where your vehicle awaited. It was a traditional horse-drawn carriage, only that it was hovering, with 2 of those weird beast creatures hauling the entire thing. You've actually taken a closer look at them after taking a while to muster up your courage. Turns out they weren't really that hostile. They looked very strange, but somewhat like a mix of horses and wolves at the very same time, which you still found very intimidating. Max was at the front, tending to said creatures at the front. Go on and put your stuffs in the back, Dave. Alright. You hesitantly left Elisa's side, keeping a close eye on those creatures. Are you sure those things won't bite me? First off, they're called Hulf, Dave. And second, if you handle them well, they won't bite you. Much. Max smirked as he turned to the wolves. The growling noises they made still freaked you out a bit. Max didn't seem to mind it one bit, though. In fact, they seemed to be fooling around with him, like pets with their owner. You opened the carriage door and placed your luggage inside. The wolves gave you a suspicious look. One of the beasts growled at you as you went back to the front, and you tripped and fell trying to move away. Ma'am, are you actually sure he's the hero? Max sighed as he looked at Elisa. Well, come what may, he still has a long journey ahead of him. Of that I am certain. And this would be where you come in, yes? I understand, but alone? I can't just be his personal babysitter, ma'am. Well, I know you mightn't want to hear this, but... Elisa whispered hesitantly. Perhaps you could call on them for help? Max stared at her for a moment. He seemed to give the idea some consideration, but it was clear he didn't like it one bit. I don't know, Elisa. Max seemed reluctant, but Elisa was quick to shush him. Just give it a chance. For all our sake. I know things have been a lot different over the years, but together I know you can pull this off. Elisa then gave him another head pat and a gentle scritch on the chin. Even from afar, you could see him wagging his tail. You chuckled to yourself. A shame your phone had already died by then. This would have been a nice moment to immortalize. Alright, Max. You decided to call them over after a moment. Okay. Well, I guess this is it. Elisa smiled at you as you and her joined in a full-on embrace. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you for everything. If you hadn't found me in the forest and looked after me, I don't know where I'd be right now. Don't mention it, dear. Just make sure you take care of yourself. You could feel her hand running along your head fluff before giving you the same chin-scritching treatment Max received. You savored the embrace for a while. Her touch really soothed your troubled mind as always. Remember to eat well and train hard. Keep at that, and I'm sure you'll become the greatest hero this land has yet to witness. Understood. I won't let you down. I promise. As the embrace parted, you hopped into the carriage. Max was already seated at the front, and you could see him waving at Elisa. Until next time, Elisa. Until next time, boys. Safe travels. Ready to go, Dave? He gave the cabin a final longing look before closing the door. Yup, let's... Alright, giddy up! Max finally signaled the wolves, and the carriage began to gain momentum. Elisa's homestead soon faded into the distance. What? I just cracked my neck and it felt amazing. But I love Miss Elisa. I love her. Like, I've only known her for, like, a few days, and already I would do anything for her. I would eat a dragon. I will turn Max into a chicken nugget and feed him to the wolves for her. And I hope that we will see her again. The scenery stayed the same though, just the ever-growing tree lines and shrubs to your sides. You're still in the middle of the forest after all. At first you feel excited, but after staring at the same greenery for a few hours, you started to feel a bit bored. So, how was life before you came here? You felt like dozing off when Max spoke up. Perhaps he was just as bored. As far as I know, I was a human before I came here. A human? What's that? It's like, how do I put it? Well, it's like you, but without the snout, fur, tail, and paws. What? Max looked to you in disbelief. I can't even imagine what your old self looked like. You must have looked so weird. Sorry, no offense, but compared to what you just described, you look way better this way. He chuckled, keeping his eyes on the road again. Well, thanks, I guess. You muttered, feeling flustered again. I was a pretty average human back in my world. They said I have no parents, so I grew up in an orphanage. The caretaker said they found me on the porch one night, without any trace or whereabouts of the person that left me there. Whoa, life must have been rough, huh? Well, for the most part it was okay. The caretaker's a good man. He can cook quite well too, though Elisa's cooking would beat it by a mile any day. You both chuckled, and you couldn't help feeling a little bit hungry thinking back to the delicious meals Elisa prepared during your stay. And was it lonely growing up an orphan? Not exactly. I've made some friends in the orphanage, too. Since we don't have parents, we treat each other like siblings. We'd play together, go on field trips together, and go to the same school as well. School? Yeah, school. It's a place where young humans learn about the world and how things work. Ah, so just like the academy, then. So, anything you wanted to know about our world? The academy, magic, or evil king? Scared noises. Dason 45, just scared noises. I guess we're learning about magic. Tell me more about magic. Well, magic comes from your own body. Each of us have something called affinities. Different people have different affinities. For example, I have ice affinities. That means I can control ice and perform ice magic. I can conjure ice, freeze stuff, and slow things down. Whoa, that's so cool! No pun intended, of course. Well, I guess it is, but we need a magic crystal to channel our magic. Without it, we won't be able to conjure anything. I want to do magic too. There's no magic back in my world. It's just stuff of fantasy and legends there. Everything works on scientific logic, which just seems boring to me. Everything has its good and bad, and magic is no exception. Sure, it might look cool and satisfying to conjure a fireball or to briefly control the gravity of your surroundings. Without proper control, it can very well become an agent of destruction. So, anything you wanted to know more? We'll do the academy next. What is the academy like? The academy, same as your schools, is where people learn about the world. There are a lot of stuffs you can learn there: magic, hand-to-hand combat, alchemy, biology, etc. We've trained numerous mercenaries and scientists to reinforce our cities and join forces against the king. Wait, you can study magic there? You remember Elisa saying something about everybody being able to use magic in this world? Well, let's just say every single visual novel that I have read on here has been fucked up in some way, shape, or form. The entirety of Echo, the entirety of Ad Astra, like a fourth of Neko Jishi. I don't think development has lasted long enough for Distant Travels. The fucking pizza box from Sileo Tales of a New Dawn. And all the Thai drama with that. Just far beyond the world in general. And I don't even want to go into the rest of them. I don't want to go into the rest of them. Yeah. But I will say this, though. Okay. You know what? I'm going to go into story time. Ad Astra. I remember the first time I played Ad Astra. I played the entire game in one sitting. This was before I used iPhone. I used an Android. I was using an Android at the time. My very first time playing it, I remember sitting in my bed, sobbing, while Amicus was in prison. Oh yeah, by the way, Ad Astra spoilers, I forgot to say that. I remember just sitting there, sobbing. Like, I was just, like, sitting in bed, tears running down my... I was full on ugly sobbing. Just sitting there, reading it, ugly sobbing. And then I went to... This was like at 3 a.m. This was the witching hour. But yeah. You remember Elisa saying something about everybody being able to use magic in this world? Well, yeah, once you're there, you'll receive basic training for combat and magic. So, anything you wanted to know more? The Evil King, Ganondorf. So, I have heard quite a bit about this Evil King so far. But who is he exactly? It's hard to say. His true name is unknown to us. Nobody even knows where exactly he came from. I have cried harder than I have while playing than Ad Astra. I have cried harder. I have, and it is not fun. Legends say that he was from a humble village far up north in this land, once upon a time when the nations lived in peace and harmony. Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. I mean, for the worse, when he rose to power and ruled with an iron fist. He transformed everybody in his village into his subjects and plotted to do the same to other adversaries. So far, he already conquered a large part of his continent and maybe 1/3 of the world. Even when many people tried to stop him? Indeed, many powerful warriors, brave knights, and wise sages from many factions and nations have faced off against the king, only to meet their unfortunate demise. Even our war against him has lasted for decades by now. And somehow I would be the one to defeat him and restore peace and balance to the world? You chuckled at the jokeful remark, but Max didn't seem to be messing around this time. Yeah, I'm afraid so. Do we actually know what he looked like, too? I'd assume most people don't. Why? Have you seen him before? Actually, kind of, but I'd rather not talk about it again. The thought of his nightmares made you shiver a little. Max, on the other hand, went quiet for a moment before his tone grew solemn and you wondered what was on his mind. 'Twas foretold by the sorcerers of yore, when worlds collide, comes forth our salvation. Under his blade and might, the evil king shall fall and soon follow suit his undying reign of tyranny. Only then shall freedom come to us all. Whoa. I'm not sure which version of this Miss Elisa told you, but if the prophecy is true, then the fate of this land lies in your hands, Dave. No pressure. Yeah! No pressure indeed! Actually, that reminds me, you do need to recite that quite a lot if you take those study classes. Oh, geez, really? I surely hope not. But of course. So, anything you want to know more? Obviously, magic crystals. You mentioned a magic crystal. What is that? It's a special type of mineral that was discovered deep underground. There are two variants of magic crystals. One is for channeling magic, the other is for generating energy. Technically, there is a third type of crystal, but using it is forbidden. Forbidden? Is it dangerous? You could put it that way. From what I know, it contains dark energy. You can use it to control and manipulate other living beings. It's very rare, however, and requires the user to have a potent energy reservoir to be able to use it effectively. So far, only the Evil King had been seen using that type of crystal without any negative effect. So, anything you wanted to know more? Yeah, I think we're good. I guess that's all for now. You felt like you've learned quite a lot of new stuff just from that conversation, and I already forgot all of it. You decided to change the topic and chatted with Max for a while before you felt drowsy again. Sleepy? Oh, fuck! We are the crystal gems. We'll always save the day. I shouldn't be singing this song because of copyright reasons. And now the people of this world believe in Elisa, Max, and Greg, and Dave. Max looked to you as a yawn escaped to your lips. Yeah, you did get up early after all. Get some shut-eye. I'll wake you up when we arrive at the city. Okay, thanks, Max. You curled up along the side of the seat, using the cushions as a pillow. You remember sleeping on those old buses when you were younger.
It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water.
I'll probably end up re-singing it. I like how the window is just called a rentai gang. You curled up along the side of the seat using the cushion as a pillow. You remember sleeping on those old buses when you were younger. The carriage wasn't as spacious, but it sure didn't shake as much, and aside from the hooves' occasional howling, this was far more comfier. You let your mind wander for a while longer as you slowly drifted to sleep. You forced a yawn as you came to. It was quiet. You must have slept for a while. Max? You grunted, rubbing your eyes for a moment. No response. What? You looked around yourself, even under blurry eyes. Something tells you weren't on the carriage anymore. I'm at school? You gave your furry arm a large pinch, which didn't do much other than earning a yelp from you. You quickly covered your mouth, expecting everyone in the classroom to have their eyes on you, but they didn't seem to notice. They must be too busy paying attention to whatever the teacher was on about. Was all of this just a dream? You sighed, rubbing your eyes some more just to make sure you weren't seeing things, when you noticed the teacher approaching. You recognized him almost instantly. He was the professor that always wore the old trench coat around the school. Judging by the numbers on the board, he probably was teaching either math or physics, but for whatever reason, his name just eluded you. You forced a smile as the professor stopped before your desk. Even though he was up close, his face seemed a little blurred out. Enjoyed your nap, Mr. Dave? He gave you a stern look before eyeing the content on your desk. You know how I deal with students that doze off in my class, but I'll let you off with a warning this time, only because you've done decently on the last exam. Thanks, sir. You felt like your heart almost skipped a beat as he gave you a weird look. The finals are just a week away, Mr. Dave. Were I you, I'd stay extra focused. And put away your philosophy books, if you please. I'm afraid they won't help you much against these equations. Oh! You heard some scoffing among the other students as the teacher returned to the board. You felt like this couldn't get any more embarrassing. Though they went quiet again as the lesson resumed. You looked at the clock wall, which read 2 in the afternoon. Looks like it's been going on at least a few hours before the session ended. Going to be at least a few hours. I'm always watching. Hang on, let me just... Dave, have you finished your paperwork? I'll be watching. Always watching. You swapped out the textbooks from the rucksack at your feet, then tried to haphazardly note down the professor's explanations. Something about using a theorem to denote something about matrices? What does any of that mean? You tried to keep up, but after a moment you just stopped. You could have sworn being half decent at this subject. And yet you couldn't understand a single word beyond that. Nothing in your notebook made sense either. All these numbers, lines, and symbols, almost as if all of it was written in some kind of language you couldn't understand. This is boring! You sighed, taking your eyes off the notebook. Maybe you're just having one of those days where nothing made sense. Hiya. You decided to look outside. It was another sunny day, and the view seemed rather familiar to you. It was the city you grew up in, after all. What is that? A purple structure loomed in the distance. It looked like a giant spire casting shadow over the entire city. Its obsidian spikes seemed to poke through the surrounding skyscrapers. It looked so out of place, and yet at the same time, you can't shake the feeling that you've seen it somewhere before. You snapped back to the board as the teacher cleared his throat. You could feel some of your classmates staring at you. This was probably one of the most embarrassing days you've ever had in school. When the lesson resumed, he looked through the windows again. The massive structure was nowhere to be seen. After what felt like an eternity, the school bell finally rang. You left the classroom in a heartbeat. Hey, Dave! A familiar voice called to you from behind. Oh, hey, It was your childhood friend. You could recognize his casual wear and messy hairstyle anywhere. You remember him well from all the times you spent together in the past, to when he asked you for help with his homework recently. Just like everyone you've met today. His face was rather blurry, and you couldn't for the life of you figure out what his name was. What's wrong? Did you pull another all-nighter? He asked, giving your shoulder a light punch. Of course you did. And reading more stuffs on F6, haven't you? I what now? Well, I know I would. I binged through several albums there the other day myself. Good stuff. I can show you some later if you wanna. Yeah, maybe not. I don't want to get into trouble being caught asleep in class again. You stole a glance at the elderly professor passing by the stairwell. Oh, him? Relax. Dave, you know how he is, all barks and no bite. What he said made you cringe for some reason. Well, don't you notice anything different about me? Different? Took a good look at you from top to bottom. The only weird thing I see is how much your eyes sag. Maybe get some proper sleep tonight. Oh, okay. You're fine. Don't worry about it anyways. I gotta go. Catch you later. Yeah, bye. You lagged behind as your friend left. Somehow you felt sad, perhaps for the first time ever. You felt lost in the same city you've spent most of your life in, as if you didn't belong here to begin with. What is going on? Nobody seems to notice I'm no longer human at all. You thought to yourself as you left the school, taking the first road towards your rented apartment. Maybe it's for the better. I was never meant to be the hero type after all. Well, at least I can still keep this body. You wagged your tail at the exciting prospect. You thought of all the cool things you could do with this new furry self. Oh, what? Suddenly, the next step you took on the sidewalk became hollow. Ah! And before you knew it, you've already dove deep into the unseen chasm. You struggled and yelled, but soon there was nothing but darkness surrounding you. You felt like you've been falling forever. You could see the same silhouette looming over you. Hiya. Yeah, so far we have avoided Wieners. We avoided Wieners and, balls. Yeah. I'm not going to do a different playlist. What I will do is I will split it up properly. You could see the same silhouette looming over you. It was laughing hysterically. There was something about it that sent chills down your spines. Help me! You screamed from the top of your lungs. You could see its maw growing wider and wider, engulfing your form the further you fell into the abyss. What? The figure spoke suddenly. Help! Wake up! What? Wake up, Dave! You shot up from the carriage seat. I know! I'm excited to see how so far the current arc ends. Shot up from the carriage seat. Max was still taking the rein, and you could hear the wolves howling in the front. We're almost there. Just about 10 more minutes. You leaned against the cushion for a moment, still feeling disoriented. You look even more tired than before. Bad dream? Max looked at you as he asked. You didn't say anything. Not that you didn't want to. You just didn't even know where to start. Speaking of the city, you have always been curious what it looked like up close, but you were still too groggy to enjoy the view, so you covered your eyes and waited it out. Alright, here we are. Let's go, Dave. You see Max getting off the front seat. Okay. You grabbed your backpack and stepped out of the vehicle, taking a moment to stretch and look around. Whoa! You see a tall structure ahead of you. Ah, shit, are we gonna dropkick the prince? Is there a prince? Welcome to the Gallantier Guild. You'll be staying here for the time being. At least until you can afford your own place, that is. Max gave you a smile as you followed him into the building. Whoa! You're even more awestruck now that you're inside. The interior reminded you of the medieval inns you've seen in fantasy books, only with a modern twist. Heh, I was just like you the first time I got here too. Come, let's get you checked in. Max led you to the receptionist to sign you up. Ah, welcome back, Max, and you are Dave, yes? Yeah, that's me! Let's see, everything seems to be in order. Please sign here, here, and here. The receptionist hands you a form from one of the boxes in the back. You grabbed a pen on the counter and signed your name as instructed. Writing with your new hand certainly felt different, if not a tad awkward. You still managed to do it after a moment of fiddling. There we go! Alright, you're all set, Dave. They gave you a set of keys. You could see a number etched onto its side. I'm sure it will be a helpful addition to the Gallantiers. Unlike those guys that tried to sign up as place here. Can you believe that? That's a strange name for a person, but what's wrong with that? That's the name of our old headquarters. Anyhow, enjoy your stay in the city. Okay, thanks. He gave the receptionist a courtesy nod and headed back. Max was waiting by the large doorway to the right. All done? You nodded. Now come along, let me show you around. Max took you to the right wing of the guild, cutting straight through the long corridor with a lot of rooms and stairwells on the sides. As you stepped out of the back entrance, a broad tower soon came into view. What does this do? Ah, shit. Its shape reminded you more of a lighthouse, except it was much taller, if not as tall as the skyscrapers back in your world. This here is the observatory. People also call it the research tower, and as the name implies, it's the center of research and development on both magic and science. You followed Max through the archway entrance into the base of the tower. Each floor of the tower is actually dedicated to a specific type of magic or science. You stopped to read the sign by the tower entrance. Gallantier Observatory. It was an area similar to the reception back at the main building, like a guest lounge of sorts. You could see other guild members resting by the sofas and chatting. Hey, have you seen the news? The situation outside the barrier is looking pretty grim. I do. Uh-huh, and why do you care? We didn't get this break to worry about things we can't deal with. Instead, we better finish that assignment too, or the director will have our hides. Yeah, you're right. Meanwhile, Max seemed to be explaining to you a bit more about the place, but something about the conversation you overheard just bothered you. Oh, hey, Alex. Max called for the links passing by the lounge. Huh? Max? Well, I haven't seen you around in a bit. Indeed, how have you been? Same as always. What about you? What are you doing here? I'm showing this new guy around. Max waved at you to come closer. Dave, this is Alex, one of the top scientists at the tower. Alex, this is Dave, our new mercenary. Hi, Alex, nice to meet you. Ah, great. Another sacrificial lamb for the king, I see. Okay. The lynx gave you a look of contempt, but still shook your hand in return. Well, nice to meet you, Dave. Listen, I'd love to keep you two company, but I've got more pressing matters to attend to at the moment. Alex said as he made his way to the elevator beside the spiral stairwell. Jeez, what a nice guy. You rolled your eyes and Max scoffed. Yeah, that's Alex for you. Oh yeah, Dave. You see Alex poking his head out from the elevator. Yes? Since you're new here and probably have nothing better to do, why not make yourself useful and come by my lab at the underground levels? A new test subject is always welcomed. The last thing you saw before the door closed was a sly grin, which made you a bit uncomfortable. Don't mind him, Dave. He must be in a weird mood today. What do you mean? He doesn't usually joke around like that, but I guess stressful lab work can do that to you once in a while. I'm sure he doesn't mean what he said, though. Max gave you a shoulder pat as you left the tower and headed back to the main building. We're going to leave off here tonight. Well, I'm very excited for Liar. Stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.